It all started with a single click, one that seemed harmless, routine, just another moment in a busy workday. That morning, an email promising a juicy end-of-year bonus landed in thousands of inboxes across our bank, catching everyone's attention. The subject line was irresistible and the timing was perfect, right when everyone was dreaming of a little extra cash for the holidays. It looked completely legit, polished with the company logo, a friendly HR tone, and all the right signatures. No one suspected a thing, but beneath the surface, it was a trap. A carefully crafted phishing test from our own cybersecurity team, designed to see who would take the bait. The bait was just too good to resist. After all, who wouldn't want a bonus? Instead of catching a few careless employees, the test caught nearly everyone. Clicks poured in from every department, from interns to executives. In a matter of minutes, our entire national banking network was crippled. Systems slowed, screens froze, and confusion spread like wildfire. For 12 tense hours, we weren't just a bank with a technical problem. We were a national headline in the making, with newsrooms buzzing and customers growing anxious. But this wasn't the result of a foreign cyber attack or some shadowy hacker group. There were no outside threats, no breaches from beyond our walls. It was a self-inflicted digital disaster. The test was supposed to be simple. Send a fake email, count the clicks, then reveal the trick and assign some extra training. The plan was to teach us all a lesson about online vigilance, to make us better at spotting scams. But the link in the email led to a test server, one that was only meant to handle a handful of clicks, not thousands in the span of 10 minutes. The server crashed almost instantly, triggering a domino effect that rippled across our network, taking down critical systems one by one. Suddenly, tellers couldn't access customer accounts, ATMs displayed out-of-order messages, and online banking ground to a halt, leaving customers locked out and frustrated at home. From the outside, it looked like a massive, coordinated cyber attack. News graphics flashed, rumors spread, and the pressure mounted. Inside, a handful of panicked IT staff knew the truth. This was no outside job. We'd done this to ourselves, and now we had to fix it. The phishing test hadn't just failed, it had backfired in spectacular fashion, becoming a cautionary tale overnight. Our good intentions had turned into a masterclass in how to break your own bank, leaving management scrambling for answers and damage control. It was the day we phished ourselves, and learned the hard way that even the best intentions can have disastrous consequences if you're not careful. Before we dive in, remember, real phishing is no joke. Scammers are out there every day, trying to trick you out of your money and data. This story is a hypothetical based on real-world blunders, meant to entertain and teach. The names are changed, the bank is fictional, but the lessons are real. Always double-check emails, be suspicious of links, and remember, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Now let's rewind to the morning it all went wrong. Our cybersecurity team, brilliant, mischievous, hatched Operation Gotcha to prove anyone could be phished. Boring security bulletins weren't working, so they crafted the perfect bait, an early access end-of-year bonus email. It looked exactly like an HR announcement, complete with the right logo and jargon. The link promised a secure bonus estimate, irresistible. The plan, click the link, get a "you've been phished" message, then mandatory training. They even set up a leaderboard to gamify the experience. The email was scheduled for 9:05 a.m., right after coffee. Dave, head of cybersecurity, was sure it'd be a harmless lesson. But the stage was set for a disaster, not a teachable moment. The team was proud until everything went wrong. They had no idea what was coming. Tuesday morning was business as usual, coffee, small talk, and the hum of computers. At 9:05 a.m., the bonus email landed. Eyes lit up across the office. Bonus? Preview? Yes, please. The email looked official. No reason to doubt it. I hovered over the link, hesitated, then clicked, just like everyone else. All around, the sound of clicking filled the air. For a moment, nothing happened. We waited, expecting dollar signs. The anticipation was electric. Everyone was mentally spending their bonus. The entire floor held its breath, waiting for the big reveal. We had no idea we'd just triggered a digital grenade. The perfect trap had been sprung. In seconds, the first cracks began to show. The calm was over. The moment of truth arrived. Screens froze, loading icons spun endlessly, and then crash. Suddenly, email clients failed without warning. Error messages popped up everywhere, multiplying by the second. It was as if the entire office had been struck by a digital lightning bolt, leaving everyone stunned and motionless. Confusion swept through the office like a wave. "Is your email working?" someone asked across the room. "Nope, mine's cactus," came the reply. People started to murmur, glancing at each other, hoping someone else had a solution. The internal messaging system was next to go. Suddenly, the network drive vanished from everyone's desktops. Panic set in as people realized they couldn't access their files, their chats, or even basic tools. The digital silence was deafening. Reboots didn't help. The problem was much bigger than a simple restart. IT staff rushed from desk to desk, but every fix failed. The sense of helplessness grew. The entire digital infrastructure was collapsing before our eyes. It wasn't just a glitch. It was a full-scale meltdown, spreading from one system to the next. Phones started ringing off the hook. Customers couldn't access their accounts. Online banking was down, and ATMs everywhere were failing. The crisis was no longer just internal. It was now public. We hadn't just broken our office. We'd broken the whole bank. The scale of the disaster was dawning on everyone, and the weight of responsibility was crushing. Rumors flew instantly. Is it hackers? The Russians? A server fire? Theories bounced from desk to desk, each more dramatic than the last, as anxiety mounted. No one knew the real cause, but everyone knew it was bad. The uncertainty was almost worse than the outage itself. The promise of a bonus had turned into a corporate catastrophe. What was supposed to be a day of celebration had become a nightmare. We stared at blank screens, helpless and defeated. The chaos was total, and there was nothing anyone could do but wait and worry. All because of one irresistible email, one click that changed everything. It was a simple mistake, but the consequences were massive. The day's disaster was just beginning. Time seemed to slow down as we realized the full extent of the damage, and it was all our own doing. The regret was immediate, and the lesson would be hard learned. Upstairs, the management team was blindsided. The head of IT, Sarah, burst in. "We have a code red." The CEO assumed it was a cyber attack. "Get the regulators, prepare a statement." But Sarah broke the news. "We did this to ourselves. It was the phishing test." Silence, shock, rage. The boardroom descended into chaos. Lawyers called, blame assigned. The execs hadn't been briefed on the test's timing. While we stared at blank screens, they stared into a PR nightmare. The bank had taken itself hostage. While the executives panicked, their faces etched with worry as they stared at screens and shuffled through urgent reports. Sarah and her IT team sprang into action, moving with a sense of urgency and purpose that contrasted sharply with the chaos around them. The test server had flooded the network with junk data, overwhelming the system and causing a catastrophic crash that brought operations to a standstill. The first step was clear: unplug the rogue server, quite literally pulling the plug to stop the flood at its source. With the culprit isolated, they began the painstaking process of rebooting hundreds of servers, one by one, carefully monitoring each restart to avoid further complications. The pressure was immense. Every minute of downtime meant not just lost money, but also eroding trust from customers and partners who relied on their services. Yet Sarah remained calm and focused, guiding her team with steady leadership and clear instructions, splitting them into specialized groups to tackle the most critical systems first, including internal networks, customer portals, and the all-important ATMs that so many depended on for daily transactions. Slowly, after hours of coordinated effort, systems began to flicker back to life. First the internal messaging, then email services, and finally, the online banking platforms that signaled hope to both staff and customers. It took 8 grueling hours to restore internal functions, and a full 12 before customer-facing systems were fully operational again. The IT team, exhausted but triumphant, were the day's unsung heroes, having worked tirelessly through the night. They had fixed a disaster of their own making, learning hard lessons in the process and vowing to prevent such chaos in the future. If anyone deserved a bonus, it was them. The crisis was finally over, and for a moment relief washed over the entire office. But as the dust settled, it became clear that the fallout was just beginning. Questions would be asked, and accountability would be demanded. The lesson from this ordeal was about to hit home for everyone involved, shaping the company's approach to technology and teamwork for years to come. The next day, the office was tense. We got a company-wide email, not a bonus, but a formal apology. The CEO vaguely referenced technical difficulties and praised the IT team. Internally, Operation Gotcha was dead. Dave and his team faced a brutal post-mortem. The cost was huge lost revenue, overtime, and reputational damage. We launched a campaign to reassure customers we were secure, painfully ironic. The test meant to improve security had caused a bigger crisis than any real attack. But it worked. Nobody blindly clicked HR emails again. Cybersecurity awareness became a point of pride. We learned our lesson the hard way, and we'd never forget it. So what's the moral? Cybersecurity is hard. Even the experts can mess up. A tiny error can ripple into a massive disaster. The test proved we're all vulnerable to a well-crafted lure. Scammers exploit human psychology, greed, curiosity, urgency. Always pause and think before you click. Communication is critical. If the right people had been warned, chaos could have been avoided. We learned from failure, rebuilt our protocols, and became more vigilant. Now, every employee is a better guardian of our security. Next time you get a tempting email, remember our story. Pause, think, and don't break the bank. Thanks for watching. And remember, stay safe online. You've got this. See you in the next one. This is Cyber Defense, signing off.